Well, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms finished its very short 6-episode run with a very short, like after credits and everything, probably 26-minute episode.
The Morrow.
That following in all of the Game of Thrones seasons, whether they be Game of Thrones proper or House of the Dragon, the big events happen in the second to last episode. And then the final episode is just kind of meant to tie everything off and just open a little bit of a door to what's to come in the next season. And sure enough, episode 6 was definitely a much lower key, more subdued, but that doesn't mean there weren't some significant things going on. Now, I'm going to tell you, we are going to talk in some spoiler detail about last night's episode. So if you have not seen A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, final episode, you may want to pay heed to this spoilers warning. You can mute or you can go away from the show and just come back and you can start watching again once this spoiler warning is done. If you're watching this after we've done the live show, just fast forward until you see this spoilers alert disappear. All right. You have been notified. What a great series this was.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of gave a promise in episode 1 about, and we knew this going into it, a Game of Thrones story that's not being told from the perspective of great kings and lords fighting over the Iron Throne about battles and armies and stuff like that, but rather more from the perspective of people who live in the world of Game of Thrones. And it's being told from the perspective of Duncan the Tall, who later becomes a significant figure. But I mean, right now, just a lowly hedge knight, or is he even, in this world? And just the character of Egg has become like the world's, he's the new Baby Yoda. I think Egg's the new Baby Yoda.
New Baby Yoda.
He's the one that everybody thinks needs to be protected at all costs.
But he's better than Baby Yoda.
And this final episode, the highlight to me and what I've been looking forward to all week. You remember I said this last week. What was Baelor's brother's name? Maekar or Maekar?
Maekar,
right. I've been saying all week what I really want to see is this brother being torn up. Like just having to live with the knowledge that it was him, inadvertently as it was, who killed his brother who he loved so much. They were the hammer and the anvil in the Blackfire Rebellion. And he's got to live with that. And he's torn up and he's tortured. And he's fully aware it wasn't Duncan's fault. I mean, it was his son. And that moment that he brought up, like he felt the need. He's a prince of Westeros. He doesn't have to do this. But when he brings up and he takes the initiative and says to Duncan, like, I'm sending my son away. The one who caused all this. The one whose fault all of this is. The one who I tried to talk out of this nonsense. I'm sending him away and hoping he gets whatever, but he still blames himself. He knows it isn't Dunk's fault, but he's still, because he's in pain, he still lashes at Dunk a little bit.
Yeah.
Yet asks him to take his son. I mean, just everything about it was so well. It was a beautiful bow on the package of what was this season. And fortunately, we only have to wait 1 year. And by the way, the scene with Lionel Baratheon, they gave us a taste of it in the trailer. He says, your prince, fought in a battle against men who were sworn to protect him. He risked nothing. I fought for you. These other chuds, they fought for you with their lives actually on the line. And you know what? He's given this spiel. I'm like, he makes a good point. Like while you're sitting here weeping over the guy that died, there are people who had much more to risk and were in much more danger, and you should maybe be focusing on them a little bit. But also, of course, for those of you who knows what happens with the Baratheon line a little bit later down the road, this is kind of the seeds that plants a lot of stuff that comes later. Anyway, for me, it was a heartfelt, beautiful thing. And by the way, did you notice they pulled that little Fast 9 or Fast 8 thing at the end?
Yeah.
Where
it was well done.
I could hear it in my head, till I see you again, as they're riding off, and you see Arlan Pennytree riding beside him and then going off and riding away. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was
It was a great way to end. And then this perfect little button. Where's Egg? And I was like, perfect.
Yeah,
That's how this whole thing started, right? With Egg lying to Dunk about, oh, yeah, my mom said I can come with you. Oh, yeah, my dad said I can come with you. It's like, no, he didn't. I just loved it. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to watch the finale of House of the Dragon. I keep wanting to say House of the Dragon. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. What did you think about it?
Well, as you pointed out, I mean, I love this show. And, I would call this this was Dunk's kind of coming of age. He began this show and his mentor was gone, was dead, and he was alone, and he had to figure out like, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, and going to participate in the tournament, that was, it was all what he thought should happen. And I loved seeing his journey. It was really his growth, and he learned a lot about the world, and he grew up, and he learned about friendship and loyalty and honor and valor, and he learned a little bit more about royalty and what the land is all about that he lives in, and the politics of the situation, all in this little, in a story that was, I would call it intimate. It was a personal, intimate story. It was like an indie film shot about Westeros, and I thought, one, it was really, the whole thing was really audacious. And even though it ended with quote unquote a battle, like the 9th episode of Game of Thrones did, and then it had the Morrow, this episode, I just thought this was a wonderful piece of fantasy fiction. This is exactly what science fiction, fantasy, and horror, I think, does best. It uses a fantasy context to tell an incredibly human story that we can all relate to, even if we're not going to be a Knight of the 7 or 9 kingdoms. And it did what I've loved my whole life, watching stories like this. And that's why people love them, because they can watch these and you can get as much value out of these fantasy characters' journey as you can of the story of an A24 movie. And I just thought this story didn't miss a step. There was not one moment where I thought, I shouldn't have done that. The whole show is really well conceived, and I thought this ending was beautiful. It put a nice bow on this whole series, and that relationship between Dunk and Egg. What different than Baby Yoda, because with Egg, he's in a position where it's like, well, if he were to stay here, what's he going to be? Where's his life going to take him? And it's like they need one another. The two of them have become kind of a unit. And I loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job. And again, so thrilled of the news that came out last week that they are committed to doing one new season every year. We don't have to wait this bullshit streaming era thing where you have to wait 2 to 3 years in between seasons. I love that, and we're going to get more of them next year. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the finale of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? And now that it's done, what did you think about it overall? I thought it was wonderful. Like I still prefer House of the Dragon personally over it, but I love that this was a different kind of story, and I just looked forward to every new episode every week, and I just loved it so much. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.